Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Building Blocks. My name is Ana Gil. Fuljens will be back with us next Wednesday with custom profiles. Tonight, we have a special guest, DJ R.O.B. Most of you know him as the Ecamm Fam Jam creator. But there's more to this than that. DJ R.O.B. in this episode, he's going to take us behind the scenes into his studio, okay? He is known to us as the iconic straight out of Ecamm Jingle DJ R.O.B. He's celebrated as the Las Vegas legend, and he is a talented promoter, music producer, and the proud recipient of both platinum and gold recording awards. Along with this fascinating behind the scenes glimpse at his studio, he will be sharing some fantastic best practices for setting up your own studio. Get ready to learn how he seamlessly incorporates Ecamm into his workflow, plus some awesome lighting tips, tricks, and so much more. Without further ado, here is DJ R.O.B.
Woo, what an intro. Thank you, Anna. And shout out to
welcome.
Fuljens.
Yeah, that was something, we're over here getting ready with no countdown. And in the countdown, I have to get used to it. All right. I have to get used to no countdowns because now I don't breathe, right? I breathe while I'm going through it. But DJ R.O.B., better known as the Ecamm Fam Jam writer and producer.
Coming straight out of Ecamm.
That's it.
So fam, you are in for a treat. As you heard, he's going to be showing us so many amazing things. Feel free to write your questions in the comments, but make sure you do the Q&A column so that I can find it behind the scenes, okay? So before we get into it, R.O.B., let's talk about how you created the Ecamm Fam Jam.
Oh, it's all your fault. As you guys know, shout outs to Anna and Fulgen, because when they had the building blocks a couple of years ago, they used to have the design challenge, and it was great because it let us test our skills, and they gave us this thing. Okay, you're going to start with a starting screen. I know the starting screen trend is now over, but back then that was a thing. And they said, we want you to design a starting screen with some music playing and put that little colored tint that kind of matches your branding, and then build us your main camera scene and build us another screen sharing scene. And that was the challenge, to have a starting screen, a main camera screen, and a screen sharing scene, and then like a goodbye thing. So everybody was doing it. And then when it was my turn to do it, I said, I want to kind of one up everybody, because they were, getting the canned royalty music from whatever sites they can get them. And I said, well, I produce music. That's my background. Let me do a custom Ecamm song. So I spent that morning doing the song, and then I built the scenes, and I don't know if people remember, but I built the scene, and one of the things that was really cool that you guys liked, and look at how much my studio has changed in the last couple of years, but I built that scene, that starting main camera scene, and I had those little bubbles going up. And you guys, when you started previewing my submission, you said, how'd you get those animated bubbles? Because everything was supposed to do straight out of Ecamm. The only thing that's not designed in here is my logo. And you guys were, how did you get the bubbles? And I said, well, that's a font with the countdown timer, but the font is called Tricks. And I was explaining how I did all that. But then you guys really went crazy when you heard the song. And I actually played the song live during that whole submission of the design challenge, where I played it from Logic and explained how I did it and blah, blah, blah. So, and I remember I was at an event and I couldn't watch when you guys were going to review my thing. So I was watching from my phone, and you guys were like, oh my God, first of all, this song, second of all, these overlays. And it was great. But it was you guys that, tested me and challenged me. And we got a free jingle out of it, because right after that, Ken and Glenn says, can we use this? And I'm like, of course you can use it. And I sent it to all the fam. It became Doc Rock's opening thing for a couple years. But like you said, the starting screen, but we're going to jam to it later. I'll play it again, maybe at the end of the show.
I almost like would have, Paul would have been like, no way, he's green. But let's see what the fam is saying. So fam, say hello to, let me see, say hello to Rob right here. and get used to. He's gonna be designing some cool things. He showed me behind the scenes, all in Ecamm. He's gonna be designing that, so that is great. Let's say hello to the fam. Hello, Saeed. All right, so let's fix this right here. Let's fix it. I'm gonna put it right over here. Here we go. And then the scrolling ticker is a disclaimer because you're gonna be seeing so many cool designs today and behind the scenes equipment that, you know, just buy what's necessary. Here is our Paul. Hello, Paul.
Paul.
Here we have Fuljens. Hello. Maggie. Yes. George, Saeed, Valerie. We have Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy? All right, you guys are going to be amazed at all of this. So, Rob, right now you are in your podcasting studio, right?
Correct. My little test kitchen, podcast studio, talking head studio where I learn equipment, buy equipment, test equipment, because, part of my gig is consulting and building studios. So I have to know this equipment. I'm not a huge content creator going live all the time and doing that, but I do it as a hobby, and I do it as a business where I'm doing consulting. So I got to know the equipment, test equipment. And sometimes I do review the equipment, and we'll get into that later, all the things I do as far as my services that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and fam, I cannot wait for you to see what Rob does and how he utilizes Ecamm to do his consultations. It's really great. So Rob, how about you show us before we get into it, right? Do you want to show us where the magic happened with the Ecamm Fam Jam?
Oh, where the magic happens, that's the master bedroom. Oh, but you're talking about the music magic. Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah.
I don't have
my podcast studio here, like you said, is right on the other side of that wall is my recording studio, which I actually spend more time in there. I do a lot of production work. I do a lot of music producing, blah, blah, blah. And of course, that's where I made the Ecamm Fam Jam. So I have the simplest way to do it is I have my iPhone continuity camera in there. So that's a live shot of my studio. I'm going to leave the podcast studio right now, and I'm going to walk over there, and I'm going to play the jam for you, and then I'm going to walk back in with that iPhone and transition into like the behind the scenes of here, and then we'll continue with all the Ecamm stuff, the real pertinent building block stuff that we want to get into. But we got to play the jam. There's a lot of new fam that maybe haven't heard the jam, so we'll play the jam, and I'll demo it in the recording studio, and then I'll come back to the podcast studio. So let me get out of here. I'll be right back.
All right. All right, fam, let's see this. So this is so cool. So he has his camera continuity, as he said, in the other room. And now we're going to see it. So he left it there.
Here we go.
Right.
This is where I, like I said, do most of my production. I love the video stuff, and I'm getting more into the video stuff. But this is my baby. This is where I do all my work. It's my little recording studio. I'm running Logic software. And this is the actual Ecamm Jam that I produced a couple years ago, the actual jingle. So I'm going to let it play for those of you who probably haven't heard it. And then we'll go back into the studio and discuss further. Here we go. This is the Ecamm Jam. Straight out of Ecamm. There's about 20 tracks. Drums, bass, guitar, my vocals. We can talk about my vocals.
Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam. For the Ecamm Fam. Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam. and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Please have your attention. Now showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start? Let's find out. Ready? Let's go.
All right.
And just like that.
That was awesome.
Let me get my. Okay, let me touch my focus so I get. There we go. Can't be blurry. I'm back.
Yes,
enjoy
you're
that?
back. That was great. You did a little remix there with it. That's great.
I did a little.
Keyboard action.
I'm not a musician. I'm a drummer, not keyboardist, but I did a little sloppy organ solo for you.
So, all right. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for playing it. It was awesome to hear it again. I was playing it almost like when I was designing the scenes and things. So it was great. So remember, fam, write all of your questions. Q column. We're gonna start into it first. Rob, let's go over the graphics. Let's go over how you use Ecamm to every day for your workflow.
Okay. Here's the thing. I do, like I said, do a lot of stuff in the test kitchen in here and doing the equipment and learning the equipment because I'm consulting on building podcast studios, and it can be very extravagant and it could be a single bedroom thing. So what happens is I walk into the client's house, I survey the place they want to do the studio. I'll take pictures so that I can go and do renders for them. But, first and foremost, I got to come up with a list of equipment. There's going to be, are you going to do a single camera? Are you going to do multiple cameras? Are you going to do lighting, good audio? Are you going to do a mixer? How many people? Are you going to be interviewing 2 or 3 people? We got to have a mixer that has enough inputs and all that. So what happens is they might get a little weary when they see that list of equipment, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, based on their needs. I'll get that little Excel kind of spreadsheet thing going with all the costs. And they'll, it kind of turns their head a little bit like, ooh, this is getting expensive. But when I bring in my laptop and I launch Ecamm and I show them how this production studio in a box is going to help them with their presentation, that's the wow factor, and that's the selling point. They don't blink twice. They buy the equipment. They look forward to it. So what I do is I bring the laptop over. I launch Ecamm. I'll get, before I even go to their house, I'll get their logos, their branding, their colors, and I'll build little things for them so they can see what it looks like. I'll do their lower thirds. I'll do their little logos. I'll do tickers if I have to, waiting screens. I'll build stuff so they can see, wow, once you launch this, your show it's like a TV production ready to go. And they love that. So that's probably the biggest thing I use Ecamm for. I mean, I could show you some of the builds and stuff. Like an extravagant build would be this build right here for a rich lady here in town. It was 4 people at the desk and lighting, and it all hangs down. This is what it looks like with a different color scheme because there's an LED desk. But I design all this and then I bring it to them. This is what it would look like from behind that desk. And as you see, there's a little tiny desk there in the back, and that's an engineer's desk. So when this lady's doing her podcast with 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, I or somebody I hire is doing the camera switching. So they have their own engineer desk and they're running the show from there. So that's one of my more extravagant builds. But just like I said, with Ecamm, I can show them the overlays and stuff like this, like this Planet 13. This is one of the things I rendered for them. But like I'll show them, I'll build that lower third right there. This is a live shot. I designed a little PTZ. They have a live entertainment venue here. And I built that little lower third, and they can customize. If it's a comedian on stage or a DJ, they can customize. So this actual screen grab from that venue where I build these things. And this, like I said, that's the selling point for doing these builds, is showing them the production that's involved with Ecamm.
Yeah. And those are one of the things that we don't think about, right? Because like you mentioned, the client will get overwhelmed when they see the list of equipment and they don't have a vision yet because we as creators, we see the vision, but for them to really see it and where the money is not going to be first, right? But the vision, that's a great way to to do it.
When they see what the results they can get, they go, oh, I get it now. And that's why that camera looks good. And that's why that mic sounds good. Oh, this looks like something I see on TV. You know, you got all the big celebrities now doing podcasts and, you know, they're tweaking it and making it look like a real production, like a real talk show. You know?
Right.
So it's great that you have a tool like this in a laptop or in a computer. That's the selling point, in other words.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we have one little question before we go into designing, right? So you made a design and you're gonna try doing it right from scratch. But we also have the behind the scenes equipment that we gotta check out and the lighting tips that you have. I mean, fam, we have a great tips for you. But here is the question from Spatia. He writes, Dream Studio DJ R.O.B. What motivates you when creating jingles?
Anna and Fuljens motivated me on the Ecamm Jingle. Like I said before, I used to do jingles for TV commercials and some local radio stations, and jingles was a great business for me. I had 3 recording studios in Vegas. I've been doing this for like 40 years. I had 2 different commercial buildings and then the one in my house. But the jingle business was good. It kind of fell off when radio stations started getting corporate and they'd hire one huge company to do it. And it wasn't like independent contractors like it used to be. That's changed. But I got into doing stuff with record labels and recording artists and that's it. So I went from jingles to producing artists. So I don't do jingles that much. The last jingle I did was the Ecamm Jingle. I do tons of production that could be kind of considered jingles. Like for New Year's Eve that just passed, I had like 8 different properties that I did music for because they do big production things for all the big VIP gamblers, and they do these big private New Year's parties in all the ballrooms of all the hotels. So I done music production for Wynn, Caesar's Palace, MGM, which I was actually at. That picture you showed at the intro was me DJing at the MGM for New Year's Eve. And yeah, that right there. And what's great about that is sometimes I'm DJing at the event that I did all this pre-production for, all this recording. I have singers come in. We do these big production numbers with choreography and dancers and aerialists. It's like Cirque du Soleil. But I'm doing all this custom music, editing it, producing it. And like I say, sometimes I get to be on property and at that event and I get to see the production I did, which is great because a lot of the times I do the production and I never get to see the end result. Sometimes I'm DJing the event, so it's great. But that's how the whole music production thing.
It feels so good.
Yeah, it's fun,
right? Because sometimes, like, if you don't see it, you're like, ha. But when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, all right, that was me. So okay, so then we have, I believe we have a question from Saeed. Yeah. So was that a previous question for you? Oh, he likes the James Bond villain chair. But okay, so there you go. So that's a question for you, Rob. Because I'm working on building my studio in a separate room. Any wisdom on the ideal distance between the desk and the wall background for a solo creator?
Right. I'm a solo creator, and if you have a big enough room and you have some depth there, I don't know, I think I have my studio in here. I think I have my studio picture in here, and if not, I'll load it.
And you're going to show a lot of that later too, right?
Yeah. But, I have a picture of my studio, but if you can get 2 to 3 feet from the wall with your engineer desk, if you're going to put a desk with a computer and you're going to put some near field monitors, you want to get some sound panels. When you talk next, Anna, I'm going to load the picture of my studio, just an actual picture, and you'll see what I mean. But try to get 2 or 3 feet from that desk and those monitors. Try to get some acoustic panels put up there, because a lot of people don't have space and they put their monitors right up against the back wall, because that's where their desk is, against the back wall. And then you getting all this extra low resonance that it's harmful. It's you can't mix clean. You're getting all the wrong frequencies, and you're going to bring it somewhere and it's going to sound not bassy because you had all this bass that you thought you had, and then when you go listen to it in your car or the nightclub or master it, and you go, wow, where's the bass? I heard in my room, because your monitors are so close to the wall. Now they design monitors where they can tell you what your proximity to the wall is, and they'll take the low frequency down, and it's measuring itself basically and taking some low frequency out because it knows how close it is to your wall. But if you have a good starting point of getting it against that wall about 2 or 3 feet, that's my suggestion.
Okay. Wow. The things that I mean, that was a great question there, Slade. Okay. So let's see. Do we have, all right. Okay, so we have another question from Travis. But how about Travis? We're gonna answer that question for you. But right now, what do you think, Rob? If we go over the graphics and how the graphics that you created inside of Ecamm, and then we answer Travis' question as we lead into the equipment behind the scenes.
So we're going to do a little graphics thing first, and then we'll do the equipment.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start with a blank scene. And when I say blank scene, I did put a picture in here. So as everybody knows who works with Ecamm, you should start with a blank scene to build your fancy little production, your idea. So what happens is when you first do the blank scene, it's going to look like that. Now I can go into live demo mode if you want. Anna,
Yes.
When you go in live demo mode for this? Okay, so. All right, so I start with a blank scene, and what I did was I took my iPhone, my regular old iPhone, and I took a picture of the back wall. So you know that little 3D art panel that I have in the studio, it's a nice little backdrop, and I got those up lights on it, which we'll talk about. I took a picture of that wall, then I brought it into Final Cut where I do my video editing, and I added these moving effects, moving bokeh balls and moving light to look like maybe it's at the nightclub moving lights are hitting that panel, but that's really just a stagnant photo, and it's Final Cut effects to get that dynamic moving background. Just like in Keynote, you can make those dynamic moving backgrounds. So then what I would do, the next thing I would do obviously was I'd add a camera. Like if I'm going to do a talking head about a product review or a consulting thing or anything that I want to talk about, first thing I need is a camera. So I would add a camera, and I'd put it up here. And it looks like I want to do a little border. Because I got a dark background, I'll do a white border. And I'll round it a little bit. Think about that. And one thing I like is if I'm doing something on the left side, I will make it a little bit bigger. When I'm doing something on the left side, I like this whole perspective thing that you guys got. And I can't wait for that shift thing, that alpha test that you got the alpha of that new feature with the shift. I've been waiting for something like that, and I'm very patient. I never download the betas. I wait. And I wait till all the kinks out if there's any kinks. But this one, I'm gonna get that beta because I love that shift thing. That can come in so handy for multiple camera things. But because I'm on the left side of here, I'm gonna perspective that a little bit, right? And then that's good enough. And I got a little white border. I can actually put a little shadow on there. Sometimes the shadow gives a little more depth, and it's a black shadow. Do you see it?
Yes, a little bit. So I can see it lifted nice. But I love how the background is picking up from yours because, I mean, it's the same background, but then it just looks really, really cool.
I'm trying to tie in the theme of my room with that little background overlay, yes.
Yeah.
So did I get the right thing? Yeah, there it is. All right, I've got a little shadow there. And then I want to do a little chat bubble type of thing. So what I'll do is I'll get a shape. I'll get a shape. And I'm going to put it on this side. Some of your settings from your last thing that you did will be in your shapes or overlays, which is convenient. I'm not going to make it as big as that one because I already kind of know what I want to design. It's already got a white border. Great. I want the color to just be plain one color. Like something like that. Maybe a little darker. Let's do something like that. And then I do want to do this perspective the opposite way on this one. So they're kind of looking at each other.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it already.
And I can align the bottom, or I can just align it visually where I want, something like that. And then what I want to do is I want a little gimmick. I want a little thing that says, this is where hey guys, if you got any questions, now's your time to ask your questions. I want to put those messages that I get from YouTube or Facebook into that little spot, but I want to make it fun and whimsical. So I'm going to add a piece of artwork. So I can go add this thing called Talk Bubble PNG. And I just found this on, one of those sites, and I'm going for this little Las Vegas neonish type of thing. I'm going to put that right about there. I'm going to rotate it because I want it to be on that same kind of angle. I'm going to rotate it. I'm not going to perspective it. I'm going to just rotate it because I want it to match that line, kind of like that. And I do want to shadow it. I want that shadow to hang over the thing like that. All right. So that's my little neon talking bubble, like, when cartoons talk. And I'm going to put some text in there. So I'm going to add some text, and I'm going to say caps lock. Let's shift return to get a new line. Let's chat. Right?
Okay.
Let's put apostrophe in there, though. Not that. Okay. I guess. And because we're going with neon, I want a neon a font. So I think I got one called Neon Tubes. Yeah, right there. Add. And we're going to put that in the bubble. Let's get it to fit.
This is looking so cool.
And to get that to glow a little better, let me move it up a little more. I want to do a little dark shadow behind it so it's more readable.
And what if you do the glow that is inside? Like they have a little, if you go to edit text.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that because that's what neon looks like. It glows.
Yeah.
I don't like
all the way. Oh.
Let's go. That's cool, but I want it to be centered, the chat. So when I go, where's my text? Edit text. I want the paragraph should be centered. Yeah, that's centered.
So look, if you go, oh, you already got out of that. Are you gonna add the glow? Or
okay.
No?
Well, I added a black shadow, so it's a little more readable because it's white. But you're saying go to the glow.
Yeah. So go to
where's
edit
the glow
text. Edit text all the way. Yep. Click there. And then you see under line height, like if you keep scrolling down, and then you see effects. Yeah, click there and then see if there's a light glow. Let's see how that looks.
Let's see. Yeah, it's a little more neon-y, I think.
It's a little party.
At any rate. And then what you want to do is, I've already had a placeholder ready. So when messages come in, I would go like that, and I'd have to put that on top. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let's go like that. And this is where I'd say, this is like a mock question somebody would ask, so that I can set up so when messages do come in, they'll pop right where I want them to pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, so that's just fun. That probably needs to move up a little bit.
And what if Rob, what if you go full screen? You know how you were saying before, like what if you put your comments there? What if you go full screen and then we can try to add in a comment there? See if it works.
Oh yeah. So
like
let me go out of live demo mode for a second.
Yeah. Let's see if it works because we have a question here for you. So let me see. So this is gonna like mess up like
I'll move mine. I'm gonna move mine out of the way.
Okay.
And you put that, there you go. And you could match the colors, but you got a little.
I'm just going to remove the edit background. I'm just going to remove the background. And then.
And make the font white.
White, okay. Font. White color.
I am going to perspective this chat.
Okay. So here it is.
Perspective the chat.
And then I got to perspective. Perspect it.
Yeah, just a little bit. If you see, here's mine. Right, I got the angle matching a little bit. Yeah.
That's that. Okay, so there's a question for you.
How many scenes do you work with usually? What are your Well, if you look at it depends on the show. Like right now, I knew I was going to meet with Anna and we were going to discuss my consulting. We were going to discuss the music, but the studio.
How
That
you
was
use
her idea.
Ecamm,
She said, "Hey, because you have the recording studio side and you did the Ecamm jingle, can we be in that room and then go to this room?" Which was a technical nightmare at first, but we got it to happen. So what I had to do is I had to get all that audio feed, but I actually got lines that are already in here. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was I couldn't get. She wanted to ask questions in there, and I couldn't get my earbuds, Bluetooth earbuds, to go over there because I got Bluetooth set up for the input on the mix, and you can only have either the Bluetooth input or a Bluetooth output. You can't have both, and that was the only thing that was kind of tricky. But it was great to see that room where I do the music and transition into this room. And that was her idea, and it was great.
and you pulled it off. It was great.
And back to his question is, if you look at my scenes, this was purposely built for our little interview today, where I
Go
said, okay,
to
I'm
a
gonna get my
live demo
main
mode.
camera.
Live demo mode so they can see it if you can.
Yeah, you want to see my scenes, and then
Yes.
so I start out with my main. Everybody should start with the main camera because as soon as you go live, you want that main camera. And then if you want to, well, I guess you'll see it now. You haven't seen, so I got a main zoom. Sometimes, if you go, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget this Friday, you can do that little zoom, which is just a copy of your main camera with the little zoom setting done, which you could see that I have it zoomed there in the camera effects panel. And then I have, if she was to say, what is that mic, or are you using the Rodecaster? I actually have my Osmo Pocket 3. When I grab the iPhone and we do a little behind the scenes of the gear, because we're kind of in that mode right now, I have an Osmo Pocket 3 for a top-down shot. And then I have a main camera, but this is something fun because I'm a 60s, 70s baby. I'm gonna go in full screen for this. I love the lava lamp. And so I made a transition. And when I go back to the live demo, you see I did a transition where I have a scene and I call it main to lava. And I got my lava lamp. And I wanted to do a multi-action with the Stream Deck. And what you can do is you can go from one scene to another scene with a little scene in between. And that scene in between is a 422 video file, meaning it's transparent. So I found some lava and I made it a scene. And then what's going to happen is when I push my Stream Deck, I'm going to go to the slider camera scene, which you guys haven't seen yet. When I go to the slider camera scene, before it goes to the slider camera, the lava is going to bubble up over me and transition into that scene. So here it goes. You ready for the lava?
Let's do it.
And then I went to my slider camera. So I'll do that
That was
again.
nice.
So
Yeah.
So I got my main camera and I'm going to make a lava transition. Lava and slider. So just fun
That was
things.
smooth.
And I built, yeah, just to demo my slider. Somehow my slider angle got completely off. So I'm going to stop that. I don't know why that got like that.
So, all right. Okay. So now
So how-
since you're already in equipment mode, right? How about
Yeah,
we do
kinda,
the tour,
yeah.
right? We're gonna do the tour now. So again, fam, remember that if you need it, then you need it, right? So he has tons of equipment and it's all has its purpose. But let's talk about there's a bug,
Let's
right?
do that. Uh-oh.
There's a bug
You got
right in my life. So if you see me like go and be right back, that's what happened. Okay. So go you're behind the scenes, do your thing. So let's talk about this though, because there are a lot of fam who want to upgrade their studio or they are starting from scratch, right? What do you suggest be the first thing that they do? So I'm gonna show you all a before that you had, right? So this was simple,
yeah.
you right, and then you then did this, right? So I'm gonna show it
Just,
again,
yeah, just to, yeah.
and then this, right? So talk about what should be the first thing that if they want to do a little update or if they want to do an upgrade, do something to spice up their studio, what would you recommend starting there?
Well, let's do the disclaimer first, saying that what you have now is all you really need. I started doing this with iPhones. I was doing a lot of production, like I said before, and I used to do this college prep school. Always had a graduation, and they'd hire me to bring sound equipment, to bring a screen and put their slideshow on it, and play music and have the mics for the graduation ceremony. And then COVID happened in 2020. They said, "Hey, we want to have our graduation ceremony, but can you help us with a live stream so that the family can stay home, and we're going to do it outside of the school. We're going to build the stage, but we still want your sound system. But can you live stream for us so the family members can watch the graduation from the comfort of their own home?" So I got into video. I had iPhone. So I had an iPhone on a tripod, and this was pre-Ecamm. This was OBS I was using, which is a user interface nightmare. It's an application that's a camera switching and graphic overlay type application. It was made mostly for the PC. It was ported for the Mac, so it's kind of clunky on the Mac, but I learned on that and got it done. But the disclaimer being that iPhone, what you have now, you can make an iPhone look great with the right lighting. So transition into lighting, like she showed that picture, is lighting is very important. So if I go to my main camera right here, and I have 3 lights lighting my main shot, or my talking head here. One is a big key light. I can go to the iPhone here just so you can see it better. This is a Amaran 100D daylight key light. On this side, I have a little newer panel, which is like 1/5 of the brightness of this one, just to give me a little side profile. Then I have a kicker light. I'll grab the iPhone and I'll show you that in a second, but I'm going to show you why those things are important. So I'm going to turn now, my camera's off. Obviously they like light. So if I turn my key light off, I might lose focus. I might not. So I'm going to turn the key light off. That's how it looks. I'm going to turn that side light off. And I also turned off the kicker light. So the kicker light or hair light is something, I know I look black and crazy right now, but I'll come back to you in a second. If you see the back of my head right here where my hand is, I have no separation from the wall. But if I put that hair light on, see what happens there? I get some separation from the wall without even having the key lights on. Now I got some dimension, and then I'll put the key light on, and then you'll see this side of my face is dark. Some people like that look. I like it too, a little side dark face, but I do put a little bit of light on this side, and I'll put that on. And those are my 3 points of light. The kicker light, hair light, the key light, and the side fill light give me the look that I want. It's a professional 3 light kind of rule that the people use for studios. And then what I'll do is I'll grab the iPhone so you can see what the kicker light looks like. Let me go to the iPhone shot for you. Command Z is your friend. Oh, or maybe not. There. Let's go to the iPhone and I'll show you. Yeah, right. I'm going to turn on this other light so you can see some other gear. I know you're not going to hear me well. Hold on. Okay. So once again, that's the Amaran key light. That's newer panel with the waffle diffusion. And then I have the C stand, and I have that kicker light up there, which is also a panel. And it's right above and behind my head, casting a little bit of light on my top of my head and my shoulders. And of course, you got the Rodecaster and the MacBook. Now I have, if we're going to go ahead and do the behind the scenes, I have the FX30 camera on there with the teleprompter, using it as a confidence monitor. I have the browser with the interview mode so I can look at Anna as she's talking to me. So the FX30 is on that stand, and it's not a tripod. And I'll tell you my reasons behind that when I get back on the mic. Then the slider is, it used to be tying up one of my heavy duty tripods. I have to use a heavy duty tripod for this slider because it extends left and right pretty far. So not only do you need the tripod, but it has these arms that stabilize the far left and the far right side of the slider so your tripod doesn't wobble. But what I did was I become more efficient when I have my tripods that I need for my day shoots, for my live shoots, my location shoots. And sometimes, when you strike your podcast studio or your home studio, you strike your tripods for something else. It's hard for you to get back in the mode of content creation or whatever, because you got to set all that stuff up again. So this is a permanent setup, so I might as well have permanent stuff. So I got this little table. What's great about this table is it has USB ports on it, so I don't even have to have MPF batteries on there. I can just use the USB ports that's built into this table, and the slider, I got some little sandbags on there for weight. I have the ZVE1 on the slider, and that table is holding up the slider. So now my tripod I can put in the closet and get it when I need it. And the cool thing about that is this key light used to be on one of those 3-legged stands. And I got these iFootage stands because this is a permanent setup. I got these iFootage stands that are just a round, heavy base, and it holds this light up perfectly. And then I did the same for this camera. Instead of wasting a tripod, this is a permanent setup. I have that round base right there. And there's my little Stream Deck pedal that I was changing scenes with. But that little iFootage stand, it's like a heavy-duty microphone stand, but it's made for cameras and lights. So now I have 2 tripods that I now can put in the closet and use for their purpose. And this permanent setup is great that way. But let me go back, and you guys can maybe ask questions about some. Oh, and then there's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 that I have on a little magic clamp coming off the C stand, so that I can have a top-down shot for product reviews, whatever. But I'll move this back out of the way. And if you have any questions on that,
yeah, thank you for that awesome behind the scenes. It's great. How big is that light? Your main light, your key light.
The key light is the Amaran 100D, and I have that softbox. Now this is, if you notice, not only do I have the diffusion softbox on it, and I have the waffle grid, which gets the light to not spill, because I love the colors behind me. And when you have some of these dome light, lantern lights, or just diffuse lights without the waffle, that light spreads and you hit your ceiling and you hit your wall. So if you have any practical accent lighting like I do, it kind of washes that out. This kind of keeps it focused. And then another thing I did is, on top of that, my wife works for this aviation thing, and they have these table covers that have elastic around them. They're for little small round tables. And I think banquets use them too. I have this cotton grid wrapped around there for even more diffusion. So if you notice, some people have a key light, but you can see this harsh, bright light, almost like a flashlight, even with the diffusion. But that third piece there actually casts a softer light on me. I just like it, so I hooked it up on there. But you probably saw it when I showed it on the iPhone.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some questions, but first, the fam is giving you kudos. Mike Rice, oh my gosh, I have the comments and all the scenes. So Mike Rice, this is an outstanding show so far. I absolutely love it. And then we have Travis, and Travis has a question. He asks, I have connected my Rode Podcaster Pro through Ecamm, though when I play music tracks through it, the sound quality sounds really poor quality. Do you know why this is?
I would have to ask how his music tracks are going into the Rodecaster. Did he import them onto the pads, or is he using some CD player or computer laptop, and he's going into the XLR inputs, which is the best way to do it? Is he sending the music tracks through Bluetooth? But the Rodecaster is a high quality, the gain staging and the amp staging and the D to A converters, everything about this Rodecaster, especially the Rodecaster Pro 2, is high quality. You can get pristine audio if you hook up your audio correctly. So I'd have to ask, how is this audio going in order to answer that question?
Okay. And you know what? That might be a good segue for the sound test that you did. What do you think if we play that real quick? So the collab test, do you want to do that?
Oh, yeah, you can show them that. But let me explain a little bit first. Because of my background in doing recording studios before I started doing podcast studios, one of the most important things, like even in this room, there's a lot of acoustic treatment. In my other studio back there, there's a lot of acoustic panels. And when I went to this one client's house, before I even do the build, I get it on camera where I clap. Now, she had big travertine floors. This room was like 20 feet by 30 feet. It was like 30 feet long, 20 feet wide, probably even bigger. She had high soffitted ceilings, meaning not was just a flat ceiling, but it concaved and there was a hollow spot. There was 4 big hollow spots. So she had all 4 walls, big glass sliding doors on one side, big sliding glass on the other side, and 2 hard surface walls, the soffitted ceiling and the marble floor, travertine floor. So what I do is before I even design or start installing stuff, I do a clap test where I clap and you hear this big long reverb. It sounds like the famous Babyface clap in his hit music. Just that big ring. So and that's an effect that producers love as far as for producing music. But in your studio recording or video podcast, so you don't want that ambience and all that reflection happening. So I do the clap and then I listen to it. And then when I'm done with the build, or mostly done with the build, meaning all the acoustic treatment is done, then I do it again. So I sent you that video file. You can play it and people can hear the difference with just acoustic treatment in that room and how it deadens the sound. But go ahead and play it. Hopefully you can hear it.
So let's go.
Turn the volume up on that slider.
What slider?
Right there, yeah. On that volume right by your, there, right there, that slider. But there, yeah. Are you doing it from YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't have the system.
Where can you hear it or no?
No.
Okay, wait a second.
Dead.
Can you hear it now?
Dead. Now you can, yeah. So go ahead and start at the beginning.
Yeah.
This is a clap test of the room without any treatment. This is a clap test. This is the second half of the clap test. Even by my voice, you could probably hear what a difference draperies, acoustic panels, and rugs will make. So now I'm going to do the clap test. Remember how it sounded before? Dead. 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 So show them why it's dead. We have rugs, we have acoustic panels, we have draperies. Dead in the room.
One more time on that clap.
Dead room. Ta-da! So
That was great.
I mean,
that was great. I mean, and that's something that like we could do whenever we make. And so my room, forget it. We do a clap and I mean, like my audio, you guys are lucky that you can hear me because my studio just opened. So whenever we make a change, right, that would be a great thing to do, a great test. I wouldn't even have thought about like recording it, right, to see if it made a change, right? Mm-hmm. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, nice.
That's a trick we did when we built recording studios, and then you incorporate that into doing the podcast studios because you still need your sound to be very tight and dead and take some of that ambience away. And you'd be surprised with big, heavy velour acoustic drapes, because hard surfaces, try to get all those hard surfaces covered with acoustic panels, a big area rug, even the big fluffy ones. The bigger and fluffier, the better. The acoustic clouds, they call them clouds when you hang them on the ceiling and you drop them down, and it just deadens all that reflection. Because every reflection adds milliseconds of reverb and delay in your room. And there's actual scientific calculation when it comes from this wall, to the ceiling, to the back wall. All those 6 reflection sides, that's floor, ceiling, 4 walls. Those get multiplied exponentially. The reflections just gang up on each other and you get these bad frequencies and you get that bad ringing. And a lot of acoustic treatment knocks it right out.
Got it. Okay. All right. So we have the Travis answered. So he has to connect via Bluetooth. Mm-hmm. That was the Rodecaster question.
And the Bluetooth of all the connection methods isn't going to be the most robust. I would suggest if you're coming from a laptop or an iPod, wherever your music's coming from, if you can get that hardwired into the actual line inputs, if you have enough inputs to do it that way, because Bluetooth, the technology is it's way better than it used to be, but it's not the cleanest thing. And then there's how much output you got on that source and how much output you got coming out, and there's a lot of variables, but you can tinker with it and see what you can come up with without me actually physically messing with it. I couldn't help you, but I know that the direct ends are always better than Bluetooth.
Yeah. And then we have, okay, so we have, if your room is acoustically treated and you're happy, clap your hands, says Saeed. But wait, a question for you, Rob. What's the name of the jam?
Coming straight out of Ecamm.
And then we have Jeremy with kudos for you. We're just gonna put it back up. DJ R.O.B is saying all the right things. iFootage, FX30, Newer, and Amaran Lights. We are simpático.
No, Jeremy's dope. I watch his stuff. Yeah, I mean, so you got to that point where you were asking about what gear is important, and this is over the top for most people. And I don't expect people to buy this, want this. They can get things done with one light, one USB microphone, and an iPhone. And that's how I started. And then as you get better, you save and you build up. I've got 3 ZVE1s. I use them for music video shoots, for location shoots. And I've got one on the slider. I got one on my shelf right there. I got one on that big tripod. It's a big giant camera rig with all the bells and whistles on it. And then I'm going to change this FX30 to the extra ZVE1 that I got. I just like full frame better. You have to work a little harder with these APS-C cameras. Just the luxury of more light, bigger sensor. So I'm going to be getting rid of the FX30 and putting the ZVE1 in that slot. But yeah, all this gear, it could be considered overkill. It's not necessary. I've worked on building up to this stuff. And like I say, what you have, start creating with what you have, learn it, and then build from there.
Yeah, great advice. And Saeed has a question. He came across some budget-friendly acoustic curtains on Amazon. Has anyone tried them? Worth it or just a waste of money? I want to hear this answer too, because I keep trying to try those.
If it's not a hard fabric, meaning it's like canvas, or if it's just a thin kind of fabric, polyester or something, it's not going to do. They actually make home theater drapes. So people who build home theaters, and they get those fancy velvet drapes, and they get the black the background backing on the back to stop the light from coming in. Light deadening curtains, I forgot what they call it. But you want a thick plush drape, like in that studio where I did the clap test. She had these dark gray. I ordered them dark gray velvet drapes. That plushness in that fabric is what traps that sound from backing back off of the curtain or the hard surface. It's absorbing it basically. So the plusher, the more velvet. So if you're on Amazon, they have the velvet drapes for home theaters, and that fabric's going to be more expensive than your simple $20, 8-foot by 4-foot panel. You want to get the heavy, dense, velvety, plush drapes. That's what's going to absorb that sound.
And then after that, you do your clap test. Like you do a clap test before, and then you do a clap test after, and see how much it worked, because we want to see clap tests. I'm going to do a clap test.
Right.
I want to do a clap test. And okay, so let's get let's see. Okay, wait. Let me go to the scene for you. Okay, a 2000 camera will make you look good if you don't know how to use it. That does for all of your gear. That is very wise and very true. Yes.
That's right.
So, all right, R.O.B, let's talk about this real quick. So this was simple from my end, right? So like I see it and then I see this and I'm like, okay, wait. It's the same studio. He has everything in the same place. But this looks awesome. So let's talk about what did you do here? Like what was it? How did you transform this small space, right?
Yeah, that's literally one picture was taken 2 seconds before the other picture, and all it is I have the built-in lighting that your bedrooms have, like the ceiling fan type lights with the little lamps pointing out. That's what happens when you get into a bedroom, and then
Mm-hmm.
the first thing you do is I darken the room. I put the up lights on that back thing. I've changed the room obviously since last time, but it's that same thing. I did the key light, the fill light, the hair light, put some colorful lights in the background. Um, and you're going to adjust your camera settings because you now have this different light exposure going on. But that's the result of lighting. And that's when
Mm-hmm.
I posted that on the Ecamm page. I said, just look what lighting can do.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
that was a ZV-1 or ZV-E10 camera at that
Mm-hmm.
point. Because
Mm-hmm.
I went from the iPhone, then I went to the ZV-1, which was a great little camera, and then I went to ZV-E10s, and then I went to FX30s, and I have an FX3 as well, and then these ZV-E1s I really like a lot
Mm-hmm.
for location stuff and for studio stuff. They're not as expensive as the other FX30s
And
and
they're so light.
FX3s. They're light. You can build them up as big as you want or make them
Mm-hmm.
small as you want, which is another thing. I sent you some of the videos. One of the things that's more like a hobby / thing that I love doing is traveling. And I did a big trip to France a couple months ago, and we go with 12 other couples. It's called a family and friends trip. And we did it quite a few years in a row now. Italy, London, France this last time. We did Bruges, Belgium, Amsterdam, Netherlands. And I'm trying to make my trip film very cinematic, very fun, with a beginning, middle, and end, a whole little spiel. And what happens is after the whole trip, a month or so later, all the 12 couples end up at this one house and they watch my movie. And I mean, I get standing ovations for it because I shoot it like a film, and great editing, great transitions, great little opening sequence, closing sequence with titles and stuff. I make a little movie so I can remember the trip with me and my wife, and family and friends can watch it on YouTube. And the group gets to watch it. They can't wait. I mean, they see me during the trip holding my camel, getting against the train real close and getting in dangerous situations to get the shot. But that's the fun, and when I can go back and relive those moments anytime I want. So some people want to do podcasts and people want to be a travel. I'm actually doing tips on my YouTube channel where I talk about how to travel with that gear, and you got to be kind of light. You can't bring the tripods and the big camera rig, but I give you tips on just bringing that small camera, using an Osmo Pocket or a GoPro, getting all those angles, getting the right shot, the right exposure, the right lenses, without bringing your whole studio on a trip, because that doesn't make any sense. But I got my new channel. I do product reviews and I do travel film tips because a lot of people are interested in that. And as I get older, I want to travel more.
Yeah, and it is a pretty cool video. And you can where can they find you? You have a couple of questions here that we're going to answer, but bring up, let me put you, there we go. Here's where we can find.
Well, there's my social media stuff. That YouTube channel I was just talking about is at Right On Beat. And then Instagram is at DJ R.O.B LV, Facebook. But on that channel, I do the product reviews where I talk about the slider or the cameras or lenses. But I just posted that film travel tips. It's pretty interesting, where I talk about the gear, the necessities, the things you should leave at home. I talk about safety when you travel with your equipment. And I have air tags built into the base of my camera that nobody knows. And now they know because I just told you. But in the base plate of the camera, I've got air tags. And in my backpack for my camera gear, I have air tags. So, don't leave your stuff on the Uber or the train or the plane. The tips are really valuable because I've done it several times. I said, people should know about this, and you guys should check it out.
Yeah. And okay, so R.O.B, we're almost done. We're going to answer a couple of questions here, but do you have an announcement to make?
Well, it depends on what time it is. I think attention, Building Blocks viewers. Our show will be ending in 15 minutes. Please get your questions out right now. Little roadcaster fun.
and with that, we have some questions. We have a question from Travis, but we also have one from Mike Manifestation Podcast. So we are going to, if you leave it there, I'm gonna put that comment back there again because I like it. Just if you go back to your design that you did in Ecamm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that's looking good. Let's use it.
I'll take my comment off.
Yes, and then all right,
put the
and then
questions
I'll
there.
put this.
We
one
didn't finish-
in there.
Well, we kind of finished building it. I didn't put the social media stuff on. We didn't watch that, but we watched all the other stuff. But that's good.
Yeah.
That looks dope.
Okay. Right? I mean, it's like right here. Wait a second. Let me do this. Okay. Okay. So Travis asked, when I'm setting up a Zoom meeting, do I change the audio settings to the external mic I'm using, or do I choose Ecamm, where the mic and all audio settings are set up through that software? So, I mean, that is a valid question, but I mean, Ecamm for Zoom is what's up, but I will let you take that, Rob.
Well, I know you know the answer. You can answer it or I can answer it. It's just with the Zoom integration in Ecamm, which was a major thing last year. You're using Ecamm for the entire production. So when you set up the Zoom inside Ecamm, it's using the virtual Ecamm mic. So your roadcaster, your mic is plugged, anything you got audio-wise, your movies, your jingles, your little tidbits on your sample pads, it's all going through there. Same with the video feed. The virtual camera is the Ecamm Live virtual camera. Those are all you need for the pristine video and the pristine audio to go into Zoom. So hopefully he's asking this because he's using Ecamm with the Zoom integration. I don't know if he's using the Zoom separate software. And even in that mode, you can choose the virtual camera and the virtual mic in that software without using the integration in Ecamm. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, yeah, and I gotta check this something with Paul, because I know that we were trying to use Ecamm for Zoom the other day, and then we had some issues with one of the clients thought that they needed the virtual mic active, and then Paul was saying that I believe Paul was saying if you do not need the virtual mic for when you're using Ecamm for Zoom. But
once you set, if you're using the integration, once you set it up, it's already automatically doing the audio and the video feed from Ecamm. But I don't do Zoom a lot. You're probably a better. Than
yeah,
me.
I'm studying Ecamm for Zoom. Okay, so we have another. Hopefully that answered your question, Travis. All right, so here's the next question. I am looking at from Mic Manifestation Podcast. I'm looking at investing in a mic to send to my interviewed guests for better audio. What do you recommend?
Yeah, and that's assuming your guests don't have a lot of equipment. They might not have a Rode Podcaster Pro with multiple inputs or anything like that. So if you're going to send a mic, you don't want to send something expensive. So get one of them Shure MV7s that, or some of the other, like the pod mic, the new pod mic has the USB-C. So what happens is all they need is their laptop, and they get that mic and they plug it right into the laptop, and they got clean sound, which is obviously much better than the laptop mics that are built into the laptop itself. So I would get a USB mic, do some research on, like I already mentioned, the pod mic USB or the Shure MV7 USB. All the major players are doing the USB now because it saves you from getting another piece of equipment being your audio interface. You can skip that and let your laptop be the actual interface, the actual input that the mic is going into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a comment from Lavish T. Williams. He writes, man, that lighting makes a huge difference. I'm not there, but I will be soon. And with that, oh my gosh, we have so many great, like we have, yeah, come back. We had a video for you to show you lighting and all these things. So we might have to have part 2 of this because as we observed and as we experienced, lighting makes such a difference. And Rob has this little tiny lights that are the ones that are lighting his background, and they look really small, and you said that they were easy to install, right, for those lights?
Yeah,
so,
these are basically, they're just DJ light, because I'm in the DJ business and the production business. high quality DJ lights that are actually battery powered, so I can charge them. They'll last for weeks. And I just got them up against the wall, pointing up. They're called up lights, and sometimes those are cheaper than what you get if you tried to get the video lights. As long as you get high quality ones that don't flicker, because low quality LED lights, they have a frequency rate that doesn't match your camera's frame rate, and you'll get, especially if you start dimming the colors or doing certain colors where the LEDs are actually fluctuating to get that color or that brightness, and it doesn't like your camera's frame rate, and you get the flickering. So the higher quality up lights, everything in this room is a good enough light where I'm not getting the flickers and stuff. But I was going to show you, if you go back to the why, one of my clients
and let me get permission from Mr. Moderator. So Paul, are we okay on staying here for another 10 minutes?
Or we can do a part 2.
All right, so let's see what Paul said. Put him in the hot seat, in the hot comment. Okay, let's get this out. Okay. You're on, so while he answers, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, I was just going to say, these little practical lighting things make a huge difference. This was a lady who just wanted she had a small bedroom, very small bedroom. She just wanted a simple talking head thing. So I took a picture of her little back wall. I did these little up lights. I added some decor that I bought or consulted on and sent her all the links to it. And she was super happy she can sit there and do her thing with that nice little backdrop back there. So like I said, little practical lighting, as they call it, makes a huge difference. If you light your subject great, and then you have that depth of field with a quality camera where it blurs it a little bit and you get those colorful things, it just gives it a mood, gives it a look.
Yeah, I love this, Rob. Like, this is such a, let's leave it there, please. Let me appreciate it a little bit longer, please, because this is you did a great job here, because look at this space, right? And how big would you say this space is?
This room is probably 10 by 10, maybe 12 by 12 at the most. So what I do, anytime I go on a property, I take a picture of it. And I went on the far side and I said, because that's where she used to do a podcast. I said, no, let's go on the other side. Let's do your podcast from the other side and get that depth corner of the room. So I take a picture, then I do some like weird renders and I send it to her and I say, this is a look where we do the decorative panels. She does the singing bowl. She does this Zoom thing with meditation, and she has like 50 to 100 clients on a Zoom call, and she's doing the singing bowls where she taps the mallet onto the bowls. And I also got stereo mics over her bowls, so the people are listening in stereo. It's got the frequencies of these bowls have some kind of healing powers. But anyway, I do a rough little render, but then when I get there, it ends up looking something like that.
Yeah. So oh my gosh, that is incredible. That is great. That is a great job. And again, I mean, it was right. It was adjusting. It was it's the same room, right? But it's just adjusting the angle, and then you added lights to the whole thing. Yeah. And
I did the same thing with her. I built her a little overlay. That's her colors are gold and diamondy. So I built that for her, and I put her face in the camera. And when we first set up, she goes, oh, I love this. It's already looking like something. And that's what you do. You want to wow them. You don't want to scare them with all these equipment costs. You want to say, hey, I'm giving you the tools that you need to make a quality product.
Yeah.
And this is one camera. She does have a 2-light system. I gave her a key light, and I gave her a hair light, a kicker light, hair light, and then the moody colored lights dialed in the camera, and it looks great.
Yeah. Good job. So Marianne Cresp is like, oh my gosh, I love that Q&A comment scene. So let's go back there again. Let's put some little comments here. So one really important. So I know that it was already covered, but let's go here and say you do need the virtual mic. Yes, you do need the virtual mic. In the new release, it's not a separate app that has to be installed. So it is in Ecamm. All right, so then that's that. We got that straight. So now Marianne is like, oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, really, Rob, this is great. And again, you can, fam, this was just creative. Rob just took a picture of his background, as you can see back there. And then everything else, the camera, perspective, played around with it. You added your socials at the bottom where you can reach him and check out this other video that he has there, the travel video that he mentioned. So this is pretty awesome. And then Jeremy writes, practical lights are a great way to accentuate the nuances of your backdrop. Where regular lighting won't work well, it is not practical. But yeah, little lights. Yeah, lava lamps. There we go.
No, I love the lava lamp. Don't get me started on the lava lamp.
You
gotta
love
do my
lava
lava
lamp so
lamp.
much. Do it. Wait, let me take this up. That is a
Lava
smooth
lamp.
transition. That's a smooth transition. I love it. All right, so make your last announcement here that we have about 2 minutes to close. If they have any questions, they go ahead.
Building Blocks viewers, now's the time. Get those questions in. Our show will be closing in 5 minutes. I'm a dork.
And then Rob was trying to like teach me how to do that and like go added the effects, and we're like, you know what? It's been 2 hours already. I'm done. But yes, so that was so Marianne writes that she is going to steal from an artist. Yes. Yeah, this looks amazing. And then okay, so any last minute advice, Rob? We might have to do too, because lighting is really like, we should do an episode of just lighting, right? Because lighting, I mean, as a photographer, right? I just, lighting is what's up. Lighting is what's up. And then when you get that good lighting and it's like, is making your reality, how you envision it in your mind, is just the best. So we gotta do another one that is just lighting. What do you think?
I had a bunch of scenes of stuff that you gave me the little pre-questionnaire.
Yeah.
I have tons of stuff that we can do a part 2 down the line if you want. But lighting is great. Like a camera can look so much better with the right lighting.
Oof,
So
for real.
we discussed that.
I'm gonna
And I love colors.
I'm gonna put this right here. Wait a second. I'm gonna put Spacha is gonna come right here. DJ R.O.B, you are an inspiration for sharing behind studio, and you're so welcome. Yes, okay, fam. So this is it for tonight. Hello, Miss Jill. Oh my gosh. Hello. Look at why you came so. Look at you came so. Oh, that's because it was a short comment. Okay, this. What are your thoughts on green screen background? Oh my gosh, Mike Manifestation Podcast. Listen, we're gonna have to have a part 2, DJ R.O.B, because we will be here for 2 hours. Should we take this question? Can you answer like short or tell me?
Here's one thing that I'm concerned about with green screen manufacturers and green screen products is the AI in the software, be it Photoshop, be it Final Cut. You don't need green screens. I can eyedrop this scene right here eventually and delete everything from behind there and put another backdrop on there. I think the green screen thing is going out the window. Even the motion picture industry, they don't use green screens no more. They're using video walls, very dense, high pixelated walls. And what happens with that a green screen can't do is if they're in the Grand Canyon driving a Corvette, or they're stationary in the Corvette and they got this LED wall surrounding them, looks like the Grand Canyon. Not only is that their scene and the camera makes it look very real, that light from that Grand Canyon, if it's the sunset, if it's dark out, if there's shadows everywhere, the screens are emitting that light back on the subject. So it's actually making it more realistic than you can do with the green screen. So green screen is great, and I have one. I could pop one up and change my background and be on a beach somewhere or in a Star Wars capsule or whatever. They have their place, but I think that's going to go downhill based on the AI technology of just grabbing a camera scene. Even your iPhones are doing it now, where it just removes the background, then you replace that background. In Final Cut, they have that new magnetic mask where I click on me and it deletes everything else and I can put anything behind it. It's getting better and better exponentially by the minute, by the day, the AI stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know about green screens no more.
Yeah,
That's
I get it.
that's my
I get it.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Well, your opinion was great. Okay. So people are like, yes, part 2. Miss Jill, love you too. Thank you for stopping by. Part 2. All right, DJ R.O.B, we're here for part 2. Because we have more questions. We have the lighting, and maybe we can just do just that, the lighting, accent lighting, or just adding an additional fill light or something else to enhance your your visuals, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So is there anything? Oh my gosh, here. Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right, DJ R.O.B, are you ready? Because we having the song, right? So we did behind the scenes, like we're gonna play the song closing, and yeah, we're good. Do you have anything else to say?
You're the DJ. You're cueing the song, and I want to say thanks to the Ecamm fam. Thanks to Anna and Fuljens for motivating us with their challenges, the design builds, the building blocks. I'm glad Building Blocks is back. I love answering questions. So if anybody after the fact wants to ask questions, I'll go down in the comments and I'll answer any questions. But once again, shout out to Ecamm Fam, Ken and Glenn for designing this great software. I can't wait for this new switch feature. Can't wait to watch more building blocks. And thank you guys, Ecamm Fam. We're going to go out with the Ecamm Fam Jam song. Anna's going to pull it up. DJ Anna will pull it up and we'll say bye to everybody. Go, DJ Anna.
Yeah, and a little bit of fam. So Fuljens will be here next Wednesday, and he's going to be covering how to create custom profiles. So make sure that you set up the notifications so that you don't miss that. It's going to be super great. That is next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And now, as DJ R.O.B said, here is the closing. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm Fam.
To the right.
Ecamm Fam is the name of the jam.
To the right. To the left. To the right.
Wait, stop the music. Hold it, stop the music. Ladies and gentlemen.
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 Can I please have your attention? Now showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.